Well, the title of this YouTube video is called Get Out While the Getting is Good. And that sounds like a Tennessee expression, get out while the getting is good. But I do want to talk to you about the cities and some of the things that we believe prophetically are connected in the apocalyptic scriptures and also the scriptures of the Old Testament. This won't be a long teaching. Normally on a manifest telecast, there's 22 to 23 minutes, but these average about 7, 8 to 10 minutes each. The reason I want to share this with you is I have been observing, the events that take place in some of the major cities of the United States. One Midwestern northern city has as many as 10 to 25 people that are shot or attacked a night at times. On the East Coast of the United States and some of the very wealthy areas of the cities of the West Coast, there have been flash mobs that have suddenly come in and just raided the stores, raided the convenience stores, raided very expensive stores, taking millions of dollars, taking chairs, crashing them into windows to take jewelry or things of that nature. Of course, most of your expensive jewelry stores have bulletproof glass, so in the high-end areas of some of these towns and cities, but some do not have that as well. And so the several things that are happening. Number one is mob violence. Number two is individual violence, such as carjackings and robberies. Number three is the fact that most cities are totally, completely unsafe to be downtown at night because of gangs. You have a lot of gangs in some of the major cities of the United States. And we could just list the high taxes that are there, the high prices that exist in a lot of our areas and cities. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is because if you will go to the days of Lot, it says in Luke's gospel, I believe it is, that as it was in the days of Lot, so will it be at the time of the coming of the Son of Man. And so in the days of Lot, there was a lot of danger, as you know, that were in the city. In fact, the old men and young men in the city in Genesis 19, late after the sun had set, had tried to beat Lot's door down to pull out two men that were actually angels in the form of a human being. And that used to happen, of course, in the Old Testament. It can't happen today, according to the teaching of the book of Hebrews. And to pull them out to have some kind of relations with them. So Lot, let me go back, there are 5 cities and they're listed in Genesis 14, for example. Sodom and Gomorrah were twin cities located very close to each other. One archaeological expert said he believed there were probably 50,000 people total, or there could be 50 to 100,000 people combined in both of those cities. Now that's a number that I read years ago. Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Zoar. Now 4 of the cities were destroyed by a fiery judgment. Some say it was a small meteorite that hit. Others say it was a volcanic eruption. And so we're not going to get into all that. Some very fascinating teaching we could get into about the destruction of the 4 cities. But Zoar, according to the 19th chapter of Genesis, was on a mountain and was a very small city. And that's where Lot went to with his 2 daughters after the entire city of Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. And someone said, how could the little city be spared and the other cities be destroyed? Because the other cities, let me just do it this way. I'm going to do it with books. I love little illustrations. The Dead Sea is 1,500 feet below sea level. And this is a mountain, by the way. So on the Jordanian side, there is this huge, massive mountain. And so the 4 cities destroyed were in the valley, and there may have been an eruption under the Dead Sea that sent fire and brimstone up in the sky raining down on the city. That's how some believe it was destroyed. But Zoar is so high up on the mountain, so Lot is making his way up the mountain to avoid the destruction of the other cities. So Zoar is a little city. And so the Lord, the angel said to him, we will not permit or allow the judgment of these 4 cities to come until you are safe in the little city. And that's if you bear with me for a moment, that's a good pre-trib verse. The judgment won't come until you're in the city, and for the believers it would be the city of God in heaven. And that's, by the way, again in Genesis 19, where the angels addressed Lot to protect him from the destruction coming. The reason I'm saying that is I believe that there is a window. Now, when Jerusalem was about to be destroyed, the Roman soldiers surrounded it in 66 AD. Then Vespasian was elected as emperor of Rome. He left, pulled the armies out. There was a gap of about a year and a half when there was an open window for the Jewish people to get out of the city of Jerusalem, or for the Christians to leave, because Jesus has already predicted in Matthew 24, Luke 22, or 21, that Jerusalem would be surrounded by army and the desolation would be near and it would be destroyed. He even said in Matthew 24, the temple would be destroyed again. So there was an open window to get out while the getting was good. And so Christians received a visitation of an angel. The early fathers talk about this. And the angel told them, get out of Jerusalem now as fast as you can, get to the mountains of Judea. And they crossed the river of Jordan and ended up in the country of Jordan. And there was a community called Pella, which ended up being it's a huge Roman city. And the Christians settled there and built a community there. And if you ever go to Israel on a trip, sometimes they take tours to Jerash, and that's kind of that vicinity in that area where some of that happened. Now, the reason I'm going to share this with you is, number one, I realize that everyone who lives in a city cannot just leave the city, not just pack up, not just change jobs and go. God wants salt and light in the earth, and we are the salt and we are the light, and therefore God wants some people to remain where they are for the purpose of ministering to people. And so here's the point. If the Lord tells you to stay where you're at, you better stay where you're at. If no door opens for you to leave where you're at, then obviously you accept that as this is the Lord's will. Now, you may feel like, I'd like to go here, I'd like to live there, I'd like to retire there. But if the door doesn't open, God's the one that says He opens the door and shuts the door. So if the door is shut, then just kind of remain where you are and continue to pray about it. However, if the Lord speaks to you that there's great danger coming in the future, and if there were to be some type of a major economic collapse, and in the cities, if the government assistance was not able to get there, or there were bank holidays, there would be nothing but absolute rioting in the streets of most of America's major cities. And then you'd have to hunker down and defend yourself the best you could. But there are people that are leaving many of the major cities, and they're coming to, some West Coast people are moving to Nevada or Texas or Arizona, and some from New York and New Jersey, because we have them doing this, are coming down to the southeastern part of the United States. Some are buying property up in West Virginia, which is very cheap, and that's why they're buying the property there. And they're just pouring into these states in the southeastern part of the United States, because in some instances, not everywhere, the land is cheaper, you get more land for the price and all that. Now, prices are going up, trust me, because Cleveland, Tennessee and Bradley County is one of those areas where so many people have come to that the prices are going up. And Tennessee has been listed in the past as the number one state some people are coming to, up to the number 2 and 3 state that people are moving to. So I'm saying this to you, that you have to be led with what you do. You don't make a knee-jerk reaction. You don't just do something definitely out of panic or out of fear. You have to do things in wisdom. You weigh it out. No man, Jesus said this, nobody builds a tower, or we could say a building, until he first counts the cost to see if he can complete it. So it's the same true with any kind of move that you make. Now, what you do not want to do is get in your car, load up your stuff, and just go somewhere thinking, I'm going to do this by faith, and you show up hoping somebody will pay your bills. That is not wisdom. That is just absolutely a lack of wisdom. You don't do that. You plan, you purpose. You do what the 12 spies do. You spy out the land. You see the route in, the route out. You see the cost of living. You see, can you afford it? Because you don't want to act in a panic situation. You don't want to get angry at people and just say, I'm leaving. And then you find yourself in a more difficult situation than you were in. I do know that Jesus talks about this, and I do know that a lot of government people are moving into the country and buying property in the country and building a house there so they can farm their own land and have their own springs and water. That is happening. But I do know that you have to know what to do, know where to go. If you need a job, search out jobs first to see if you can find a job. Search out the prices of rentals or homes and things of that nature. And I just do believe that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go to the smaller communities and the rural communities. And I can tell you something about living in a more rural town or a smaller community. And when I say smaller, you're talking about 25, 50,000, 100,000. That's actually a small city. is that a lot of times, and this is one of the comments that we get when people come into some of the southeastern part of the United States. Now don't come with a bad attitude, because people down here are basically friendly people. If they talk to you, talk back, But I find that a lot of people are surprised that, like, in our county, it's common for gospel music to be playing in some of the stores and some of the restaurants, because they're owned by Christians. We have 380 churches in our county to choose from. I mean, you can really pick and choose what church you want to go to. About 120,000 people in our county. And so we're kind of like the Bible Belt of the East Coast, where there are people that say, instead of living under stress and living under people that I'm afraid of and living in neighborhoods that are unsafe, I want to try to go. And so you can search it out and look it up. And you may have family living in other states that are welcoming you and say, man, why don't you just come on? Well, look, here's the thing I want to say. Because of high crime, because of some areas that are earthquake prone, some areas, and again, maybe coastal areas that are storm prone or whatever it might be, hurricanes, etc., you might want to try to find a place and be wise about it. Again, be wise. Don't make, knee-jerk reactions. You don't have the money to do anything. You're going to do it by faith, and you will find yourself in a precarious situation. So, if the Lord tells you, like Lot, it's time to get out of the city because something's about to happen, and in prayer and fasting, not some kind of prophecy that was over you by somebody who's a self-acclaimed prophet or prophetess who half the time misses it, not that, but you are led by the Spirit and then pray for God to open the door. That's what you do. God, if this is your will, show me a way, open the door and provide. Open the door and provide. And we have many people that we've met over the years that have done that, and we're grateful for that. Now, let me tell you, when you go to a rural town or a smaller town, you're not going to make the city money that you make in New York and Los Angeles, $30, $40 an hour, whatever it may be. And if you work for the government, you definitely are not going to get those rates. But the other hand is that sometimes your prices are less, and to have peace of mind might be worth taking a pay cut, if you understand what I'm saying. So just a thought for something for you to pray about and think about. We do believe we're in the last days. We do believe we have to have wisdom. And the main thing is to raising your children in a more safer environment and a more Christian-oriented environment where people truly love the Lord. And they're out there. These towns exist. These communities do exist. They're scattered throughout the United States. So I pray that God will bless you, that His will be done on earth for you as it will be done in the heavenlies. Keep watching our channel. We always have a special product. And look, we're releasing some great material that some of you have never seen before. And it helps us to keep our Manifest program on the air and keep our ministry going around the world. So keep watching, and we want to say subscribe to the channel if you feel impressed to do so. Thank you so much. Our new offer is one of the most important prophetic teachings in the history of Manifest. Hebrew expert Bill Cloud and I teamed up on this 10-hour teaching to unlock the mysteries concealed in Israel's 7 festivals. This album has 11 DVDs that are 21 30-minute lessons. They include illustrated messages and charts and pictures to enhance the details of the research. On the first DVD, I explain God's 7 appointed festivals along with God's prophetic calendar. Bill Cloud then shows you a complete Passover Seder and explains the mystery of unleavened bread, unlocking its prophetic purpose, including the revelation of the Messiah. I then follow up, taking you on a journey to illustrate the prophetic layers found in the Festival of First Fruits. Bill presents the 4th festival, dealing with the powerful significance of Pentecost and its impact upon us today. On DVD number 6, I will explain the 3 fall festivals and how they are yet to be fulfilled, showing how trumpets and the different shofar sounds on that day encrypt the mystery of Christ's return for His bride and the resurrection of the dead in Christ. Then I explained the biblical and ancient temple rituals of the 6th festival, Yom Kippur, and how they detail the great tribulation judgments yet to come. On DVD number 9, see Bill Cloud set up a sukkah, walking you step by step through the practical and prophetic meaning of Israel's 7th festival, also known as the Seasons of Our Joy. Among the live audience, the most talked about DVD was lesson number 10, where I examine Israel's 3 biblical harvest cycles that prophetically conceal the rapture of the tribulation and the millennial kingdom through the festival harvest patterns of ancient Israel. The 11th and final DVD will stir your spirit as I reveal God's plan to restore His glory to the earth in these last days. This teaching introduces to the viewer unique Hebrew word studies, fresh biblical insight, unusual Jewish customs, and exciting prophetic truth, helping you to understand the future according to God's festival calendar. It was preached before a live audience of ministry partners, and this teaching was originally designed as a Perry Stone Bill Cloud ISO Bible course that normally is $150. However, right now you can receive the 11 DVDs as a limited time offer in an album for your donation of $75 or more. To order your set, go online at perrystone.org, call toll-free 1-888-21-BREAD, or write the ministry and send your donation of $75 or more to Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. Now remember, when writing or calling, use offer number 11DVD101. Help keep Manifest on the air. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
If you enjoyed this YouTube content, there's an important website you should know about: perrystone.org. Perrystone.org is an essential resource for the latest books, audiovisual presentations, and digital products from Perry Stone Ministries. Resources that cover the same kinds of topics discussed in the program you just watched. Stop in and see all that's available at perrystone.org.